Hey students. So welcome to lesson 2 of 9.2. So in the previous lesson, we looked at how to calculate the surface area of regular pyramids, but specifically a square base pyramid or a pyramid that has a regular polygon, but we've already given the area. So we're going to extend that to look at triangular bases. Now they look a little weirder. Okay, they're a little more robust looking shapes, but honestly, these pyramids are going to be exactly the same method. And actually the triangles, once you get organized with the actual dimensions of the individual pieces, they're just as smooth or straightforward as the square pyramids. So with that being said, let me go ahead and direct you to my screen. All right, so this is example 2. Now, you should have these notes already available. If not, okay, make sure you get this written down. So throughout this video, you're going to hear me say, feel free to pause this video. But since it is a video, it is your job and responsibility to pause it whenever you feel it's needed. But when I tell you that I'm going to pause, I'll let the video roll for like 5 seconds, so you got a little opportunity to quickly pause and the video won't continue, okay? So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and check out this regular pyramid. So the surface area, once again, is trying to find that area of each individual piece. And in all of these pyramids, we are going to use the net system or nets method to break it down. And the nice thing about a pyramid, it's actually much easier, I feel, all right, or most students find it smoother to go ahead and draw these nets because they have that star kind of shape. So for this one, let's go ahead and do that. I always start with the bottom. Okay, so the bottom is a triangular piece. That's this bottom piece right here that I just scribbled over in purple. As I am drawing it, okay, I'm going to put in the dimensions right away. Now, one thing that you should be doing every time is to put those dimensions in immediately, okay? So the purpose of a net is to keep the dimensions and flatten down that shape and keep it all organized. If you draw it real quick and then put the dimensions in at the end, you may miss some of the dimensions, okay? So keep that kind of organization, or else, okay, you may find that you miss a couple dimensions or mix them up. So we have the base, and I have the height, which is 8.7, and I have the sides that are all 10. And I know they're all 10 because right here at the top again, we're talking about a regular pyramid where all the sides are congruent. So from there, I'm going to go and branch out the individual lateral faces. And if you remember, on a lateral faces, on a pyramid, they just extend out. They just kind of flop down, fold down, and they're this really nice, easy looking star shape. So let me go ahead and put in the heights here. And since we already have the 10 penciled in, we don't have to do that. But I do know that the heights of all these are 14, which is really nice. That means that we only have to do one calculation pretty soon to find those areas. So this is the completed net. Right? At this point, pause the video if you need to catch up on drawing this net, okay? Or if you're good, just let the video roll for the next few seconds before I start talking again. All right, so the net is complete. Now, it's just a calculation phase. So what I still like to do is label and organize my work, okay? So the base, that's the bottom piece, is going to be a triangle. It's going to be A equals BH over 2. And the base of that bottom triangle is 10, and the height is 8.7. Then we divide by 2. Any mistakes after this is going to be calculator mistakes, so be careful. So 10 times 8.7 divided by 2 comes out to be 43.5, and it's meters squared. So that's that purple bottom piece. Now I'm going to do the lateral faces. Now, if you notice with the lateral faces on this piece, there are 3, and they're all congruent. So I'm just going to put times 3 here as a way to remind myself, oh, I'm just going to multiply by 3 at the end. So let's go ahead and get that formula down again. Let's go ahead and plug in the appropriate numbers. The base of the lateral faces are 10 again, and the height, though, this time is 14, divided by 2. So once again, we're at calculator stage. Punch that in. You get 70. 10 times 14, 140 divided by 2. 70. but I'm going to multiply it by 3, which is 210 meters squared. Okay, so I multiplied 3 because there are 3 lateral faces. Now to finish strong here, I'm going to do AT, that means area, surface area total. Okay, so surface area total is going to be the base, which is 43.5, plus the lateral faces, which is 210. And once I plug that in, it comes out to be 253.5 meters squared. And don't forget those units, as I have mentioned multiple times throughout all of these lessons. Okay, so at this point, pause the video if needed. Okay, this is the completed work, and you can see organization is still key to these problems. Organization, the net, super organized with all the dimensions, and then the individual calculations. Okay, so once again, pause this video if needed before we roll into the OIO. All right, so let a little time pass. So what we're going to do is, this is the completed example, and there's nothing more we really will look at with this lesson, okay? This completes 9.2, but let's go ahead and see if you can try one on your own. So I'm going to scroll to the OIO, and you can see there's example number 3 here that we have not done yet. So for example number 3, okay, get it written down, okay, and work on the nets and the calculations. I'm going to let the video roll for about 5 seconds. Okay, so you should be pausing it at this point, and then the answer key will magically show up. Okay, so pause the video right now. All right, students, so the answer key should magically pop up on the screen, and what you should see is my net and the calculations. Now, what's interesting about this problem is that once I created the base and then I folded down the sides for the lateral faces, I noticed immediately that all 4 triangles are exactly the same. So one of the things I did was just calculate the base and lateral faces together. So that's my labeling scheme right up here. Base and lateral faces times 4. So there's 4 of the same. When you look at these problems, make it a point to see some of this stuff. It's a little bit more thinking and critical thinking in the sense that, hey, why am I doing multiple calculations if I see some duplicates? So once you've done that, you should have got 15.6 for each area, and then I multiplied by 4 for 62.4 feet squared for our surface area total. Okay, so with that being said, okay, look this over, make corrections as needed. Okay, that's your responsibility to see where your mistakes are, if there are any. Okay, and let the video roll. I will go ahead and switch to final thoughts here in a second. All right, so with that, this completes the 9.2 lesson 2 video. Okay, as usual, review it if you need to. Okay, and additionally, make sure your notes are complete before you work on the classwork that your sub is now going to roll out. Okay, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via email, and in the next set of days we will review 9192 before we continue into the last section of this chapter 9.3. Okay, thank you, enjoy.